is your pipeline to the heart of the action.
The defense can only play this good for so long.
Hot takes, big reactions, and your calls are incoming.
This week, it's really going to be crucial.
The Sports Blitz.
They're playing championship football.
The new Sports Blitz.
You can say what you want.
On 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
So you know what time it is. It's Tuesday here at the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. It's Tuesday here, and I'm excited about it. We're live. We used to be local, but now we're worldwide. And on a Tuesday, as always, we got Jeffrey in the building. Now, Jeffrey has a crown on his head today, and we got to understand why, Jeffrey.
Oh, we won the Lane Kiffin lottery, you know?
That's right.
I mean, it was basically like a beauty pageant.
Yes.
And I sat here, you know, for more than 2 months. I believe it was like September 20th when the Gators lost Miami. Yeah, they lost bad to the Miami Hurricanes. And they just, you know, wanting to fire Napier right then and there, you know? And they had to wait through the Texas win, which is weird.
Yes.
Wasn't that a strange situation?
Very strange.
And I asked the question, you know, I said, if you beat A&M and you beat Mississippi State, do you keep Napier? And they were saying no. And I was like, okay, this is really crazy. Yeah, and they've been talking up Lane, and that's, you know, the girlfriend that they wanted.
Yep,
and
they lost.
They didn't get it.
Nope, they lost.
Yeah.
LSU won that one. As always, on Tuesday, we got the Bone Crusher in the building. Bone Crusher, how you doing today?
I'm good in the hood. Listen, 4 o'clock, hour to go. Don't be that guy that just snoozes the last hour of the day, tries to hide. Finish strong. By the way, Jeff, I don't think you won the lottery. I think he kind of lost because Lane Kiffin, you know what he's going to do? He's going to run out on you just like he did with the last time.
You know,
man.
I have a phrase for that. You ready for it?
Yeah.
I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time.
And speaking of good times, we have on the phone line the voice of the LSU Tigers, Chris Blair. Chris, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, guys. Coming to you from Boston, Mass.
Oh, man.
With the basketball team. So it's a little cold, expecting some snow here any minute here in Boston. But looking forward to it. Basketball team off to a great start, and here we are, basketball season in full swing. But I'm sure you guys want to talk about football and football coaches.
That is a little bit correctly. Just so you understand, I'm not sure if you got to hear the opening monologue here, but Jeffrey is wearing the crown on his head because LSU has won the Lane Kiffin beauty pageant. So just so you know, Jeffrey's got his LSU shirt on today. He's got his crown on, and he even brought some popcorn because Coach Kiffin said, get the popcorn ready.
Yeah, I think he feels like a lot of Tiger fans, to be honest with you. You know, for me, it's kind of been the worst kept secret for 3.5, almost a month, 3.5 weeks, almost to a month. But it all came to a crescendo yesterday, obviously, with the press conference at 3:30 Central Time. In the introduction of Coach Kiffin. And, again, immediately, you know, news starts happening on an hourly basis, you know, as far as how the staff will be built out, and Charlie Weiss Jr. maybe going to stay with Ole Miss through the playoff run. So there's a lot of things to settle in, but the most important was LSU now has a new head football coach, and it appears that the overwhelming majority are ecstatic about Coach Kiffin now being a Tiger.
So you said something that sparked my intrigue. It intrigued me very well. How long ago, Chris, did you know that this was going to happen?
You know, I mean, I think it was the worst kept secret. I mean, I think that many of us who were on the ground, again, not all that different from fans in general, but just putting the tea leaves together, it was pretty obvious that he was going to be coming. I think I was pretty much before we left for Norman, Oklahoma on Friday. It was a matter of will they announce it Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. And the only small percentage of me that had any doubt was that I thought it was going to come down to Coach Kiffin making a final decision, not about money, not about where you could win or your legacy or any of that stuff. I thought it came down to where does he want to be? Turned 50 years old. You feel like you probably got 10 or 12 more years, to coach at this level and have, hopes for, the top of the heap. And I felt like if it came down to that 5 or 10% of, is this really what I want to do? But, I was pretty convinced it was a matter of when, not if, for most of us throughout most of last week going into the Thanksgiving holiday.
And that really was the biggest part for us being here, being surrounded by so many Gator fans. It was not inevitable for us. We were in the, swinging towards the Gators, and then we kind of went back to the middle, and then we kind of swung over to LSU, and then there was talks about this or that, and then finally, whenever it all came out that, there was a deal going to be had and it looked like Florida was out, then everybody was like, well, it looks like LSU is going to be in. How much of this decision, I know it's been put out there a lot, how much do you really believe, though, that Coach Carroll and Coach Saban really played into this whole deal? Because, I think that he called them for sure, and you could tell by the way, I don't know if you checked out College Game Day or not with your schedule being so busy, but there were things that Coach Saban said that kind of gave clues of which way he was leaning. So do you really believe that Carroll and Saban both really had big parts to play in this decision?
Yeah, I think so. And I lean that way just simply because his father, who recently passed, would have been part of that mix as well. Obviously, with a veteran coach who had been multiple places and had to make those type of decisions multiple times when Lane was coming up. So the fact that Monty Kiffin was no longer available by phone call makes perfect sense to me, that two of his other mentors professionally, in Pete Carroll and Nick Saban, would have, some good advice. And, frankly, I'm not here to make Florida fans mad. It is what it is. Florida is a great program with a great tradition. It's been a while. It's been a while, and that's why. And I don't think Florida fans would disagree with me on that. Certainly, that's the reason they've made a change once again, and they've made several changes since the glory days of Steve Spurrier and, frankly, Urban Meyer. It's been a while. So, when you talk to coaches, and I get a chance just through networking and what I do, I get to speak with them on a pretty regular basis. And it's a pretty well, within the coaching circles, LSU is a top 5 job.
Yeah.
Not in 2019. Of course it is then. Not in 2010. Not in 2020. Any time it's going to be a top 5 job for the infrastructure, the fan base, the willingness to step up and provide everything within the infrastructure that a coach needs to be successful. And I think Nick Saban knew that, and I think Pete Carroll knew that. And again, that's not throwing shade at Florida. I think I looked at this, again, trying to take off purple and gold lenses when this first started, and LSU was looking for a coach and Florida was looking for a coach. I never really thought that the two programs are at the same place at the very moment. I think LSU, Lane's going to come in, and I think this is why he made the decision. He's going to be starting now at the ground floor inside a free, well-built building, if you will, and now we'll just put the furnishings he likes, the things he's comfortable with. I think at Florida, again, I'm probably going to make some people mad. I think right now that coaching staff, regardless of who they are kind of still behind from the NIL game, the way recruiting has changed. So I almost think it's almost like you still got a great building. You still got great opportunity at Florida. I just think you were starting in the cellar as opposed to the ground floor. And again, that's not to be Florida could be right back in the top of college football next year. That's how that program is. It just isn't at the moment. So it wasn't a huge shock to me that it really came down to. And then, of course, who knows what's true? You guys have read what I've read, that there were some issues about who would decide the general manager position in Gainesville and who that person would report to, and would they be football only or would they be kind of overseeing all sports. At LSU, I mean, I can tell you guys, it was basically, we'd love for you to come here. Here's what we'll pay you, and you run the program.
Yeah.
No strings attached. And, you know, for a coach, that's what they're all looking for.
And that's where, like, for me, that's where at the beginning of all of this, with the Brian Kelly firing, in which we talked to you about this, how much was the governor going to be a part of it? Because that was, to me, the block or the blinking light, so to speak, at the beginning of it all. That's why whenever everybody was talking about it, I was like, well, I don't believe Kiffin's going to come if he's got to look over his shoulder. And in essence, that's exactly what you said about the Gators. And so with that being said, I haven't heard anything from Governor Landry once the firing happened and all of that kind of settled out. He's really not going to have anything to do with the program going forward. It's going to be Lane Kiffin's baby.
Oh, 100%. There were other things involved, 3.5, almost a month ago. And the governor gave his 2 cents. Things happened in a matter of hours and days, and then I think that was all over with. I know it's a nice narrative for the rest of the country to think that LSU football is run in the governor's mansion. It never has been, and it certainly won't moving forward. There were other things at play that needed to be handled, and that was handled. And now, as I heard the governor speak, I think earlier today or tweeted out one or the other, that he's so happy that Lane Kiffin is going to be the head coach of his Fighting Tigers and all of our Fighting Tigers, and can't wait to see what he puts on the field, something to that effect. So, no, it'll be Lane Kiffin's program. He'll have his fingertips on every piece that he wants. There may be some pieces already in play, a la the defensive staff that he may want to keep. I mean, it will be Lane's decision. That program will be the way Lane Kiffin wants it to be because, A, he's got the leverage to do so based on what he has done at Ole Miss from a wins and losses perspective. And he also has it because the university and the athletic department said, as I said earlier, this is your program. Here's what we've built. Tell us what you need and go win some football games. And that's, frankly, what the order of the day will be every day until the start of next season.
We're speaking with Chris Blair, the voice of the LSU Tigers. Chris, when you hear him talk yesterday in the press conference, and he talked about Coach O and when he called him when he was passing Tiger Stadium, and how serious do you believe that Coach O is in play for actually coming back? I know he's been linked to the Tulane job as of, about 30 minutes ago. But as far as Coach O coming back, is that really still a possibility? And do you think that's a good idea to bring him back?
Yeah, it's interesting because, also running throughout this whole episode, guys, over the last month, I've been told since about 2017 that Lane Kiffin always had a soft spot or an interest in LSU. And, of course, there was some talk, before Ed left LSU when Lane was still the offensive coordinator at Alabama about coming to LSU to be the OC for Ed. Eventually, Jimmy Sexton's figured that out and got him down to South Florida as a head coach. So that never worked out. But I do know those two are very close. Ed has talked about it. I've heard him talk about it when he was the head coach at LSU on working with Lane and being with Lane both at numerous stops. So the history there makes perfect sense. Would I be shocked? Absolutely not. Would I be shocked if he's hired as the next head coach at Tulane? Would not be shocked. It ended badly in 2021, obviously with two really disappointing seasons, 2020 and 2021, after the magical 2019 run. But now you're far enough away that it's in the rearview mirror. That really all Ed Ogeron is known for is putting together one of the best college football teams in the history of the sport in 2019. So, yes, do I think it'll happen? I have no idea. Would he be an excellent asset from a defensive line coaching standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint? Absolutely. Does Lane Kiffin know that? Yes. Would there be any pushback from LSU fans? No, it'd be one big celebration. That's the beauty of being far enough away from the bad stuff that the good stuff outshines it. So, we'll have to wait and see. Again, it'd have to be a fit for Lane and what he wants at LSU. It'd have to be a fit for Ed, who certainly it seems to be loving life following his young sons coaching at different spots, Tulane included, Miami included. So we'll wait and see. But I think there would be another celebration if that were to happen.
So I got a text today from one of the Ole Miss beat writers, one of the guys that sends me stuff from time to time, and he was talking about Charlie Weiss Jr. right when it happened, about him coming or actually staying just to get through the playoff. And then Coach Kiffin also come out and made a statement about, wanting them to do that. Do you believe this was a nod for Kiffin, or I'm trying to, or do you think that Ole Miss was asking for this? Because, it does matter who's coaching you when you are getting ready to get selected by the playoff committee. That's a real thing. If you're starting quarterback, as we saw with Florida State, they got left out of the playoff because of that. And so coaching does matter. So I guess my question is do you believe that this was Ole Miss asking, or do you believe this was Kiffin trying to just be the good guy and try to be really show that he does care about the team?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. And again, I don't have inside information. You're just asking my opinion. I think there's an argument to be made from the Ole Miss side that, no, you've decided you want to move on from our program to go somewhere else, and albeit one of our bitter historical rivals within our conference. So that's a hard thing to swallow for Ole Miss. I certainly understand why there would be some hesitation to allow him to. Now, I'm sure, and we were all told, like everybody else, the reporting on Saturday night as we were flying back from Norman was that was the brunt of the conversation. He had already made clear he was leaving and would be coaching at LSU in 2026, but was trying to work out the details for possibly staying on with his Ole Miss team through the playoffs. And there was even a thought, should Alabama lose to Auburn in the Iron Bowl, that he would coach in the SEC title game. I understand Ole Miss not wanting to do that. Now, the more specific answer is I saw a report just as we got into our hotel here in Boston that Lane had said, or had been quoted as saying, he would certainly allow Charlie Weiss Jr. to go back and coach Ole Miss through the playoffs, even though the plan is for him to be the offensive coordinator for LSU next season. Now, again, if Ole Miss agreed to that, okay. They'd rather have the OC that's going to leave them than the head coach. But I believe Ole Miss would allow that, guys, for the reason you just said, which is how important is it to have the head coach and offensive coordinator of an offense as good as Ole Miss's has been this season not be there on the sidelines in the bowl prep for the playoffs? Yeah, they might get turned away. The committee may put a lot of weight in that. I don't think so, but they might. So I think Lane was trying to do the right thing. Yes, Charlie, you can go back and coach them. We'll wait on you when you're ready. Because that's going to help, I think, the committee go ahead and keep Ole Miss in. And from Ole Miss perspective, I think they're doing the same thing. Okay, we don't want Lane to do it, but we can do the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I think they're both just trying to make sure Ole Miss gets in after having an incredible season. And for them not to be in would be an absolute shame. They went through a very difficult SEC. They have an incredible record. And they ought to be out there playing with the other 11 teams that think they're good enough to be a national champion. So to answer your question very long-windedly, I think both of them are doing it to help Ole Miss make sure they get to the playoff.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Let me ask you this. This might be a little bit just kind of a behind-the-scenes thing. I like kind of trying to get some information. So, obviously, LSU, their season, they're waiting on the bowl game. Mm-hmm. And so, with that being said, do you already have set up when you're going to be having the coaches show or his interviews, or how's that work for you as far as specifically you with him before the games and all that?
Well, it was interesting because, like I said, we had Thanksgiving on Thursday. We flew out with the team on Friday to Norman for the final game against Oklahoma, and it was all pretty much known. It's, as I said earlier, it's a matter of when, not if. This is going to be our new coach. And then, of course, we start checking the clock and the schedule, and it's like, okay, they're still meeting in Ole Miss, and we're flying back from Norman. And will it be on Sunday? Will it be on Monday? And, of course, I have travel responsibilities with men's basketball. We flew out for Boston yesterday. So all of that's being talked. All of those discussions are being made. And, I get emails, I get text messages. Nothing's been concrete yet, and we'll be back late Wednesday night after LSU plays Boston College tomorrow night in the SEC ACC Challenge. And then there's a lot of things left to do. So, yeah, it's all being worked on. It just makes it a little less hands-on for me because I'm here in the great Northeast.
Yeah, we were hoping that you were going to be over in Destin. We were going to try to take a trip and come see you, but we found out that you wasn't going to be able to make that trip. So we were a little bummed out about getting to see you over there with the Tigers. I know that you had someone fill in for you, so I did want to tell you that we did miss you over here in the beautiful state of Florida.
I don't know. Well, I'm sorry I missed you guys. Would have loved to have met and hung out a little bit. And I get Boston, Mass, and 31 degrees, and J.D. Byers got Destin and probably pretty nice. I don't know what the temperature was, but I would guess it wasn't 29 to 30 degrees.
No, it was way better. It was cold. It's been cold here. I mean, we're all wearing our jackets like it is 29 degrees, but it's not.
But 2 days ago, it's 82. Seriously.
Yeah.
So either way, we don't want to hold you any longer. We appreciate your time and value you for the show. And, again, we will touch base with you later on, and we appreciate it. Make sure you stay bundled up. The snow, have fun with all that. We ask that you keep it up there and don't bring any of it down this way because folks down here cannot drive regularly, let alone whenever you have snow on the road.
No, I'm ready to get back down there and get above 60 degrees with with the sun out. But I do want to say this, guys, before I go. I think LSU got the coach they wanted. Yeah. I think they got a very good hire. We'll see how things play out. But I do want to say I think Florida got an excellent coach too in John Summerall, and I know there's some that say, well, the resume doesn't equal, but I think they're going to be in good hands with Coach Summerall. I've been impressed with what he did at Troy. Going back to my old Sun Belt days, Troy was a bottom feeder, and suddenly they were playing for a conference title. And then we've seen what he's done the last little bit at Tulane, which is not an easy program to do. I have a very good friend in Willie Fritz, who really improved Tulane's football program before going to Houston, and Coach Summerall came in and did the same thing. And for that matter, I think Auburn got an excellent coach. I think Coach Golish is a relentless worker. And there's two ways of doing it in this modern age, guys, with NIL and transfer portal. There's having a guy who's had success that has the resume, and then there are guys who are just relentless workers nonstop. And I think everybody, when all is said and done, my assessment of the SEC hires so far for the open positions, I think they're all going to play out pretty well. I'll be surprised if everybody's not very, very happy with what they have.
I agree with you on that. And again, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you for all of the words that you give us. That is, it really helps our fans, our listeners, to know what's going on, and we appreciate you taking out your time being with us today, Chris. So have a great trip. Y'all be careful, and I'll let Jeff say "Go Tigers" because I just don't think that comes out of my mouth very often.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers, my friend. Go Tigers. We're all aboard the lane train now. Let's have some fun.
All right. Thank you so much. And when we come back, we're going to discuss some of this breaking news that just came out. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Taking your hot takes, rants, and takedowns. Let's hear it on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Keep the game going with ESPN Northwest Florida. Just because you get out of the car doesn't mean the Sports Talk and Live play-by-play have to end. Just say, hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. From Michigan Avenue to the man cave, from the car to the kitchen, we've got you covered. Keep the game going. Hey, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the northwest, partly cloudy skies and 68. Some clouds tonight, much colder at 42. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a light breeze right around 6 miles per hour with a high of 59. About the same at 58 Thursday, and we'll have clouds in the early morning and then light rain. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Looking for dependable civil construction in the Florida Panhandle? CBC Construction has you covered. From land clearing and drainage to roads and underground utilities, CBC delivers high-quality work on time and on budget. Locally owned and operated, CBC is trusted by schools, developers, and municipalities. To learn more, call CBC Construction 850-740-3815 or visit cbcconstruction.com. That's cbcconstruction.com.
Your NFL and college football headquarters is Dak Cajun Place. With 27 TVs, you won't miss a play or a game. Score 50-cent wings during live games every Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. 50-cent wings and $5 pitchers during live games only at Dak Cajun Place. LSU and Saints fans, wear your team colors and get free Jell-O shots when LSU or the Saints score. Plus brunch on Saturday and Sunday from 10 to 2 with $3 mimosas. Game like a local at Dak Cajun Place.
You found us inside the CBC Construction Studios. The phone lines are open, the opinions are flowing, and the arguments are just getting started.
You cannot give LSU extra opportunities. With just one loss, they can sneak in there. They're playing championship football.
The Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson is back, and we're putting you in the game.
He has not turned the ball over.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Too many bowl games.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Don't forget, you can call in. You can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. We're excited about the Red 70s phone line, so much so that we're going to go ahead and go to it. We've got Ed on the phone. What's going on, Ed? How you doing, my man?
What is going on, y'all? I'm feeling like Ted Bundy on a Tuesday. I'm feeling pretty frisky right now. Pretty good.
Oh, yes. What is going on with you, buddy? Tell me what you got on the docket for today.
Let us debate the topic of too many bowl games out there. Yay or nay?
Nay. And let me tell you why. I believe they've got to open up the playoff. And I know that I'm going to be in the minority with this, but they've got to open the playoff up because what's happening is exactly what you said. People don't want to go watch bowl games that don't really matter. Used to, it mattered about winning bowl games, but now it does not. It only matters about, are we playing for something? You're going to have a lot of these bowl games this year that you're going to have the people opting out of the bowl games, and so you're going to see second string and third stringers playing in bowl games, and people aren't going to fill the seats. So that's my opinion about that. What do you think about adding to the playoff, Ed?
Oh, man. What's the number for the playoffs already? What is it?
It's 12. It's 12 right now.
Oh, you know, man, I remember, let's just say shortly, because I'm on a short clock, but I remember back in the day, it used to be the AP used to pick the top two for the national championship. Remember how that used to go? And now they stretched it out, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, man, I'm going to say, for the time being, let it be. and then maybe in the next couple, maybe give it about 5-10 more years, and then we can stretch it out or even shorten it up again.
There's just going to be the lack of support and playing whenever you don't make it worth playing for. And the fact is that if we think a 16 can beat a 4 or 16 can beat a 3, then so be it. But those games will play themselves out, but it'll actually give more fan bases an opportunity to say, well, we were the best team in the country. We just had the toughest schedule. Or we had our guys back. And we lost during the regular season whenever our quarterback was down or our best running back or our best defensive player was down.
But let's be honest, there's too many teams out there that can make those comments every year, and then it's like the NCAA. It's like the NCAA tournament. There's way too many teams out there. There's not enough time.
Yeah, they'd have to do something where they'd shorten the season because really they'd have to do something like that where they could shorten it up to make the playoffs start at a certain time. But I love the playoffs ending in January rather than keep going into, the depthness of January. I like for January 1st to be the national championship.
Ed, do you know how many days it takes to get from the first playoff game to the championship?
No, but I bet you do.
Guess how many?
Oh, dude, I'm going to be wrong on the air, and I don't want to be wrong.
31.
Yep.
It starts on December 19th, and it ends on January 19th. 31 days. That's crazy.
That's nuts. I never knew that.
Yeah.
See, that's why I paid to listen to y'all's show. Like and subscribe and listen to y'all. See what it does? It got me a free beer. It helps me with my stats when I pick teams, and I learn something new every day. That's why I call in, and so should other people, guys.
Don't listen to us about NFL Pick'em last week because it was horrible. It was bad. We actually, we started at 0-4, and then we actually kind of redeemed ourselves on Sunday. But to start at 0-4, that's unheard of. That cannot even happen.
Well, guys, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm going to let y'all get back at it. I'm going to go back to work. Thanks for letting me call in. I love listening, and we'll holler back at y'all next time. All right, guys?
Thank you so much, Ed. We appreciate it. He brings up a good point. Really, there are a lot of games, and there's going to be a bunch of them. And you want to let this be a reward, but really, when you look at it now, a lot of the good teams that don't make the playoff, what is their coaches going to try to do? They're going to try to salvage their players and somehow, some way do something because those players now can leave that team. And if they sit out that game because they're not going to the NFL, they can now sit out that game probably because that's the ending of the regular season is their final game, not the bowl game. Yeah. The bowl game is postseason. So really they can still get their money and sit out and then go into the portal and go to a team next year. And so you're going to start seeing that kind of stuff happening, which is crazy. That's why we have to. I know you're dead set against it. I know you're an older, you're for the old school way, but you're going to have to get to 16. Now, after 16, I don't think it should go any further because 16, at least your top 15 teams in the country are going to be there playing for something, and then you're not going to see this drop off from everybody else. Because look at a team like Tennessee, look at a team like Vanderbilt if they get left out, look at a team like Missouri, look at a team like, whether it's Texas Tech or BYU, whoever makes it in and who doesn't. But all of those players, they're going to go to some bowl game that they don't want to be at. They're going to not play. They're going to sit out. And then you're just going to see nobody's going to want to watch the game because it's going to look like a Division II football game, realistically, when you're out there because the ones have been playing all year and the twos have just been taking the garbage snaps.
So last year, okay, let's go to 16. Okay. Last year, it was Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. I'm not too bad with that. Making it 16 last year. You know? Even the teams that were in it, I didn't feel like anybody was mismatched. I thought SMU kind of deserved to be there, right? Who was the automatic bid? Oh, Boise State.
Boise.
That was decent. But this year, I don't know. I'm not big on Tulane going. Yeah. And I'm from New Orleans.
Right.
So that shows you my unbiasedness on this one. James Madison, not so much either. They took the one loss. They don't really deserve it there. I hope that Virginia wins and actually gets in because everybody's looking at Miami and thinking Miami should be in. And you show the resume against Notre Dame. It's really, really close on that one.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's the one that I hate to see being on the outside of the top 12 right now. And after that, they would put Texas in.
Yes.
So Vanderbilt and Texas would be in if you had a 16 this year. But who's the ones right after that? I mean, is it BYU? It depends what they do with Texas Tech, right?
Right.
And then I can't even say a 16th team because I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Maybe USC? I don't even know. Do they belong there? Probably not.
And that's where you got to understand where I'm coming from. My opinion about this is that there's no perfect scenario. It's not going to be perfect. I'm not saying if you move it to 16, that's going to make it perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying I think for the life of college football, we're going to need to have it to 16 because you're going to see such the drop off because you've got 13 teams that have been ranked in the top 25 that believe, and their fan bases believe that they can play with anybody up until about the 10 or 9 or 8, somewhere around there. Because usually your top 5, top 7 teams, everybody seems to be like, oh, yeah, that's going to be the ones that's going to win it. Yeah. But if you were to ask me from last year, do I believe that Alabama could have made it to, further than Boise or Clemson or someone like that, I would have told you yes, because we match up well with some of these other schools, whereas maybe we didn't match up well with, say, a Georgia or, Oklahoma, for example. Yeah. And so really, you give me, Alabama against that Penn State team, I think we could beat that team that made it to the college football semifinal.
So here's what's a little interesting, because last year was kind of messed up because the Arizona State and Boise State got the 3-4, right? Mm-hmm. And remember, Clemson got the 12.
Yep.
If they didn't have that, and Alabama was the 13, right? They would be playing the 4 seed. We don't know if the 4 seed would have been Texas or Indiana or Notre Dame. It would be somewhere up in that range. Would that have been interesting to you in the first round? I'm sure.
Yeah, it would have been. And the thing is that what's interesting to me is that we will see it. So, yes, if you have a 1, and I'm just using this I know this can't happen, but I'm just saying if you had a 1 versus a 16, that will shut the 16s up and let them know whether or not they can compete.
Yeah.
And the fact is, though, it gives them that one game that's not a bowl game that their best players are going to sit out. And so really, when you look at that, that's how it's going to work. And that's why I think it's better than anything else. We're going to go to the Red 7T's phone line. We got Arnold on the phone line. What's going on today?
I was just wanting to make sure I could get permission from King Jeff to talk.
Yes.
First of all. And then I wanted to ask you, has Lane Kiffin made any kind of for sure thing about his staff? I mean, Pruitt's out there would be a great defensive coordinator for him. And I was just wondering about that.
They haven't said completely yet, but I think that some things are starting to roll, and a lot of people are thinking Ogeron might come back, or, the only thing that's on the news right now is that Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator that's coming with him to LSU, is going to stay back and coach for Ole Miss for the remainder of the playoffs. So that's the only thing that's been said. Not sure about Frank Wilson, not sure about Ogeron, not sure about any of the other people that are coming in. So
I see Ogeron and Kiffin mixing like oil and water.
No, really they're friends.
No,
they're real friends.
They're buddies, and the personalities don't clash. It's kind of humorous, really.
That is unreal. I would never believe that. But I know y'all know more than I do. Well, y'all have a good day. Thank you for your show. I appreciate it. It's very informative.
Thank you so much. You too. Thank you. We're going to go straight back to the Red 7T's phone line. We got Gator Jamie on the phone. What's going on, Jamie?
Hey, what's up, boys? How are y'all doing?
We're doing fantastic. What's happening today, my friend?
Oh, not a lot. Just driving home, listening to the conversation, and I just wanted to chime in on the expanded playoff, what you guys were talking about, and to me, if you look back, if you remember when they had the BCS, it was the 2, and then they had the 4. Back in those days, we can honestly say there was about 5 teams that would compete for the championship every year. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, and then whoever else had a good season. And that what that did, it congregated all the talent to those schools, because everybody knew that if you wanted to play for a championship, you had to play at one of these schools.
Yep.
And now what opening the playoff has done is allowed teams like SMU, Texas Tech to spend the money build the rosters, and come in and actually be able to compete. And the longer we have an expanded playoff, the more teams are going to be allowed that are going to come into the fold. So if we expand it to 16, you're reasonably going to have 25 teams eventually that are spending the money contending for those 16 spots. So every year we go through, well, would 13 really have a chance? Not right now. 5 years from now, 13 will absolutely have a chance, because it's going to continue to spread the talent out. And you've already seen it, how it's working. Alabama's not what they used to be. Clemson's not what they used to be. Ohio State, they're still rocking it, but eventually they won't. Eventually they won't. That talent will get spread out. That's how I see it.
Well, I mean, if you look at basketball, Gonzaga, Butler, George Washington, as GW. Right. These schools would have been on anybody's radar. I mean, but we have 68 teams now in that tournament, and it really has kind of enveloped to where these other schools are actually in the conversation.
Right. You got, like I say, you're going to have 20 to 25 programs in the country where the coach can honestly tell the kid, hey, we're going to go to the playoffs next year, or we're going to contend for a playoff spot next year.
And it's it's not going to be perfect, but it's exactly what you said. It's going to show parity for college football, because where we're headed, though, is we're going to have those 12 teams that once they realize that they're not in it, these guys are going to finish out the year. They're going to take their injuries. They're going to not play. They're not going to play in the bowl games. Then you have these worthless bowl games that are going to be on TV that are going to lose money for.
The bowl games need to go away.
Right. And
I just think they need to go away. There's just a money grab. And it used to be the kids the bowl games were big deals, but not every game that these kids are playing were on TV. So, hey, I get a chance to play on TV in the Tax Slayer Bowl. My family's going to be able to see me on TV. Well, they're on TV every week now. Every game is on TV somewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's no longer an incentive. These kids used to be excited about, hey, we get to go to Hawaii for the Hula Bowl. Man, these kids travel all over the country now. They got $200,000-$300,000 in the bank. They don't care about the damn Hula Bowl.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. When you look at how it's set up, we have to change the methods. And I get it. We all want to have what it used to be and what used to matter to everybody. It's just like the conference championships. A lot of people, I know this isn't true, but it is just something to be said, though, is that you get a bye week if you don't play in your conference championship. So, like, teams like Ole Miss and teams like A&M, they're actually benefiting from not playing in the SEC championship, whereas Alabama, they've got to go and they've got to look good, or they possibly could be left out.
And if they lose, they might be gone, whereas they didn't. Ole Miss is sitting at home. They don't even know who the damn coach is, but they're going to get in.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, whether people agree with me or not on adding to the number, obviously there is no perfect case scenario, but I think this helps us as far as making games worth it at the end, because you know how everybody is. They'll just fold their tents and go home, and then you'll see these bowl games be nothing more than 2s and 3s playing against each other.
Hey, and you can't blame a kid for looking at it going, we're 6-6, and we're going to go play another 6-6 team. And I got 3 months to get ready for the NFL draft. I'm folding it too, buddy. I'm not going in there and knocking my head against the wall for nothing.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, they can make some kind of incentive for them as far as with their individual NIL deal. That would be the only way that they could change something to make it worth their while. But like you said, especially if you've got a first or a second round grade, why would you go risk the injury for $100,000 or even $60,000?
Right, exactly. And it's got to go to 16 eventually anyway, because to me, I hate the first round bye for the top 4 teams. I think that's a crock, and then those teams get punished too because they don't get a home game.
Yep.
They don't get a home game to get all that gate money. You got 100,000 people coming to the shoot. Hey, that's a big economic boost for Columbus. And if you have too good a season, you don't get that, so it punishes you economically. And who doesn't want to have a home playoff game?
That's exactly right.
So there was more trash talk last year for Tennessee as the 9 seed going into Columbus than any other team in all the playoffs all last year. Who's the team you would think that would talk more trash this year that's going to the playoffs?
Oh, man.
I'll tell you mine right off the bat.
Is it the Hurricanes?
Nope, Vanderbilt.
Ooh, wow.
Vanderbilt? Come on, man.
They believe they can beat anybody.
Whoa.
They believe any given night they can beat anybody.
I think if A&M had beaten the Longhorns, it would have been A&M.
Yeah, I could see it being Texas, if they squeak in somehow.
Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't know. I mean, Texas beat Vanderbilt, didn't they?
They didn't play.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Did they?
I thought Texas beat Vandy and Vandy.
No. Vandy lost 2 games. It was Alabama and who was the other one?
We'll have to look it up because we're busted up against the break. Jamie, we appreciate you calling, man. We're going to have to take our next break. And when we come back, we are going to discuss the other things that Jeffrey forgot. You're listening to the Sports Blitz at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida.
The Red 70s studio line is now open. 850-215-6290. Have you ever wanted to reach out and smack someone?
You can't fix stupid, but you can divorce it.
The new Sports Blitz. Rants, hot takes, and huge reactions are incoming.
And on behalf of 70% of the Alabama fan base,
Feel the burn.
we want a damn divorce.
The Red 70s studio line.
You cannot give LSU extra opportunities.
850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida.
He has not turned the ball over.
Get in the game.
It's the end of the year and the perfect time to unwrap big savings on a brand new 2025 Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Ready for adventure? Well, drive into the holidays in an award-winning Kia SUV line like the Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or the bold Telluride. If you want luxury and performance, slide into the sleek 2025 Kia K4 or K5 sedan, always designed to thrill. And going electric this year? Spark inspiration with the all-electric 2025 EV6 long-range, fast-charging, and electrifying style. At Bill Bird Kia, you'll get comfort, safety, and technology, all wrapped into one perfect package. And don't forget, we're the original home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street in Panama City or online anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. We'll treat you like family and give you the peace of mind you can trust. Bill Bird Kia, your local community dealer. Love your ride this holiday season. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty.
For a limited time, Krispy Kreme Donuts presents the Charlie Brown and Peanuts Christmas Donut Collection. Including Snoopy cookies and cream donut, Charlie Brown ornament donut, Christmas wreath donut, and 2 returning treats. All available now through December 24th at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts, since 1937, where you get 'em hot.
Now, we're live and local inside the CBC Construction Studios. Now back to the Sports Blitz on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, your place for the SEC Championship game, Georgia versus Alabama, this Saturday at 2 o'clock. Kickoff starts at 2:30, and then after that, the ACC Championship kickoff at 7 o'clock. Don't forget that. We also got Thursday night football, Dallas at Detroit. Kickoff is at 7:15 that night. Now, Jeffrey, right before the break, we started talking about it. Vanderbilt did lose to Texas.
Yeah.
And so Vanderbilt's losses came at Texas, at Alabama.
Yeah.
And so those two teams being, I'm curious to see what the committee thinks about them beating A&M the other night. So I don't know what they're going to say about them as far as where they pull them out in the rankings. I don't know where they could go. It just depends on how far they drop A&M down. Because when you look at A&M, their resume is not really great. I mean, yeah, they got the Notre Dame, they got the lower level SEC teams, but they didn't play Alabama, they didn't play Georgia, they didn't play Ole Miss. You know, they didn't play Oklahoma.
They play LSU and Missouri. I don't even know if they played Missouri. I know they played some bottom tier teams. They did.
Yeah.
In the SEC.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying these teams are just all washed up and has-beens, but South Carolina wasn't who we thought they'd be, you know.
Right. And so that's when you look at
but
it.
They throttled LSU.
Yeah, but
in Death Valley.
Right. Well, LSU only beat Western Kentucky by a field goal, right?
Yeah.
So I know. Yeah, this is.
But they're a 4-4 team. They're not a loser in SEC.
That is true.
Technical.
But you can say Vanderbilt, like, because they do have the swagger. They can run the football. They do have an experienced quarterback. They do have good athletes on the field. But to me, you telling me that Vanderbilt can't play with Oregon, you're telling me that Vanderbilt can't play with Indiana, you're telling me that Vanderbilt can't play with Ohio State, I still believe it. You know, I'm not, again, maybe I'm such the hater of Ohio State that everybody's all but given them the national championship on a silver platter. They've not played anybody. I'm curious to see what they look like with this Indiana game, because realistically, when you look at this game, we haven't talked about it, and we'll talk about it more throughout the week, I'm sure. This game means nothing except for bragging rights and positioning for the playoff. But having the number one seed in the playoff, does that really help you in getting what you want? Or whoever loses that game, are they going to have a better opportunity because they only drop down to 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, and then they get to host the game rather than having that first round bye? So those are questions that are really going to start really making everybody think. Now, they will have a playoff committee. We'll show tonight right after the show, so we'll know exactly where they value people and what they look like. Obviously, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think it's just going to be a little bit of hodgepodge of moving. But when you look at it, there's some things really that I just wonder, because being undefeated going into the playoff hasn't always been the greatest case scenario, because normally the team that loses during the year usually wins the national championship. For the most part, there's not been very many undefeated teams. They're less likely than having teams that have lost one. So in the long run.
Well, I mean, over the years and all that, it's been the undefeated teams that have won.
When you're talking about BCS, I'm talking about when we've had the playoff. There's
the 14 playoff?
No, the playoffs that we've had.
We've only had one. So
I'm talking about when you look at, like, Alabama didn't go undefeated every time.
No.
They went less undefeated more than they went undefeated.
Ooh, I don't think so. I think it's pretty even. I think y'all have been undefeated.
I think Saban had 2 undefeated seasons, and he won. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shocking.
So, yeah. But either way, you know what's shocking?
What?
The deals at AutoNation Ford in Panama City. If you're in the market for a vehicle, you need to go over there and see those guys. They already have Black Friday specials, but they also got financing specials and all kinds of deals going on trucks, cars, SUVs. There's everything you can think of over there at AutoNation Ford at 730 West 15th Street, right there by the railroad tracks. Go see those guys over there. You know what? Christmas is coming. You know what's not coming? Snow, hopefully. If you need your vehicle taken care of by the professionals, you need to go see Recommended Collision Center. Brandon and those guys do an outstanding job. Whether it's a mirror, a door handle, or you need a new hood, or you need a new bumper, whatever it is, those guys will take care of it. You need new wheels. Maybe your wife has curbed 1 or 2 of them, or 3 of them, or busted a tire. They can take care of all of those things. Go see those guys at Recommended Collision Center. See Brandon. He'll take care of you. Mention the show. You'll get a discount. Free estimates. They do insurance work and very, very, very good stuff. Jeffrey, you got something to say?
Yeah, Recommended is spelt with a W. It's Recommended.
Oh, my God.
And it's right south of 15th Street on Jinx Avenue.
On Jinx Avenue.
Yeah.
It is.
Easy to find.
Yeah. So what you got?
It's basketball season also. And if you're into the hardwood more than the gridiron, the NBA is in full swing, and college tips off this Well, actually, a couple of weeks ago. But Hard Rock Bets puts the entire basketball season in the palm of your hands, from tip-off to buzzer beaters and everything in between. Check into the game and shoot your shot on Hard Rock Bet today. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 or older and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-833-PLAY WISE.
Play Wise. They changed it to Play Wise.
Yeah.
And it used to be what? What did it used to be?
You're an addict. No. No. I'm joking.
No, it wasn't.
No. And there's a big game tonight. Duke and the Gators. Duke is ranked number 4.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So don't eat too much about it. So
do we have some Jaguars stuff going on?
Yes. So we are going to give away Jacksonville Jaguars tickets, but we're not doing it today. No. So either way, make sure that you listen on Friday at 5 o'clock. Friday at 5 o'clock, we're going to give away Jacksonville Jaguar tickets. So it's not going to be for this Sunday, but it's going to be for the following week 15, where the Jaguars play the Jets. And so the thing is, the Jets just won this past weekend. Now, the thing about the Jaguars, Sunshine and the boys are playing awesome, and the Colts are kind of falling off a little bit.
Yeah.
So is it going to be the Jaguars are going to win the division? That's the question. So they're playing playoff football. So if you want to go see a really good football game, you want to go see a team that's going to really play hard, you need to go down there and see the Jaguars. Friday at 5 o'clock, we're going to do it. Also, right now, if you want to get a 30-day free trial, Anytime Fitness, courtesy of 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, you can call in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. We're going to give away a 30-day free trial. They've got all kinds of stuff over there. I know they've got, like, what do they call them? Personal trainers. I know they can help you with your diet. I know they can help you with putting you on a program. That's what you need to do if you're having problems. Don't wait till January. Why wait till January? Go ahead and get started now before you have the big Christmas dinners, because that way your metabolism can keep going and keep going. So either way, it's 2310 West 23rd Street, Panama City, in the Coronado Village. Their phone number is 850-240-3165, and you can go to their website, www.anytimefitness.com, and you can check out the pictures and talk about what's going on. It's a brand new place, so all this stuff is good equipment. That's right. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Taylor Devers from the Chalk Chat in Norvell Central. See what's going on with this ACC debacle. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get in the game. Call or text us now on the Red 70s studio line. 850-215-6290. Your home for college football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This Saturday, live from Atlanta, it's the SEC Championship with the Georgia Bulldogs
75 yards.
and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Alabama survive.
Coverage starts at 2, kickoff at 2:30 on your spot for the SEC Championship on the Gulf Coast, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with ESPN Northwest Florida with your Tuesday's weather. The rest of the day, there will be a moderate breeze out of the northwest, partly cloudy skies and 68. Some clouds tonight, much colder at 42. Tomorrow, partly sunny and a light breeze right around 6 miles per hour with a high of 59. About the same at 58 Thursday, and we'll have clouds in the early morning and then light rain. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
WVLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
When it comes to building smart and roofing right, TK Vandy's is the name you can trust. They're your go-to for general contracting, design, build solutions, and top quality roofing. From concept to completion, they deliver excellence on time and on budget. Whether it's a custom build or a complex renovation, they've got you covered, literally. Call TK Vandy today and build something better together. TK Vandy, built with purpose, roofed with pride.
Broadcasting from the CBC Construction Studios. ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the new Sports Blitz. Call in with your questions, hot takes, and rants at 850-215-6290. The Sports Talk Monster.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
That's right. The sound is correct. It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're so glad that you've decided to join us today. Don't forget, if you want to be a part of the show, you can be. You can call in on the Red 7T's phone line, 850-215-6290. I got Jeffrey here, Bone Crusher's here. We're having a great time, and we are pumped up about what is coming. That is Norvell Central Chop Chat. Taylor Devers is on the phone line. Taylor, my man, we have finally made it to the end of the road for the Florida State Seminoles. This was bad, and let's talk about it. How you doing today, my friend, by the way?
Good. It's the same old story we've had all season long. I mean, it feels like the Alabama season opener was such a long time ago. It was a decade ago, it feels like. I mean, Florida State just cannot get out of its own way. They can't win on the road. This is not a complicated Florida team. This was a 3-8 Florida team going into the swamp. While the swamp is a intimidating environment at times for college football, this is not a team, and this wasn't rocket science to figure this team out. And it just seemed like this was just a microcosm of what Mike Norvell has done all season long and just how his team performs. It just did not look pretty, and it was embarrassing to watch.
Well, I watched it, and I was embarrassed, and I'm not a fan of either team. I was just amazed at how Florida looks so much better, and that was the crazy part about it. And obviously coming in, we knew that Florida, they've got talent. They've got a good defense. They've got kids that can actually play. I mean, Ball can run the absolute mess out of the football. He is an absolute legit running back. I think he's going to go play pro. I think he's going to do great. He's long. He runs behind his pads. He does what you want your running back to do. But I just cannot believe at the way they were out-coached by an interim coach. It just seemed like that some of the play calling, some of the defensive sets, just not being able to get to Lagway, not being able to stop the run. When Florida decided they were going to run the football, it was like Florida State was guessing that they were going to throw the football. And it was like, okay, how many yards is Ball going to get before Florida State makes a change? And we still didn't see the change even after the end of the game.
Yeah, that was very confusing. You saw during the Florida State-Alabama game how aggressive that defense was. How they were coming downhill, the linebackers playing very aggressive, and the linebackers were basically non-existent. They were in different spots. Tony White had talked about it before, Florida State defense coordinator, how some of the defenders were out in the wrong spot. I mean, I get the 3-3-5 is something that they're still getting used to. It's still something. This is game 12. We have to get something to kind of go through. And, I mean, Jaden Baugh did not have a negative yardage all game. He averaged 7 yards a carry, 266 yards. This is literally the second most rushing in a game for Florida in school history. I mean, this is just an embarrassing product in terms of what the defense put out there, and you thought they had something to play for. It looked like Florida was trying to get bowl eligible. I mean, this is literally the second time in Mike Norvell's tenure at Florida State through 6 years that he's lost to an interim head coach at Florida. And the first time in 2021, they were both 5-6, playing on the road. And sure enough, you didn't get the job done there. You turn around and this year, Florida doesn't even have anything to play for. The only thing they have to play for is spoil your season. And they did that and basically dominated you in the second half to where you just basically had to give up.
And that's what was so surprising to me, is that there was a give up. It seemed like the players gave up. It seemed like the coaches were not. It was almost like that when you can watch it. And again, we're not at practices. Nobody's beating down our doors asking us to come coach their college football team. However, I say all that to say, obviously, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and expect it to go to your favor just by default. You've got to do something tangible to make things different. And not allowing Ball to run the ball was one of the things that I would have made a change at halftime and said, okay, we're just going to stack the box. We're going to go one-on-one, and if you can't cover them, we're going to pull you, and we're going to keep putting people in until we can't find somebody. We're going to make DJ Lagway throw the football and beat us, but they didn't even do that.
Yeah, it was very concerning to me because the times that Florida basically were in obvious passing situations, or basically it was 2nd and 6. Maybe Baugh had a first down and got 4-yard carry. And DJ Lagway, instead of being able to drop back and pass the ball, they play-actioned it. I mean, perfect play-action. You know, you've been running the ball up their throat all game. And, I mean, it's a perfect read. You know, you're throwing into the flat. It's an easy throw. The one interception he had in the game was basically just a bobbled pass. I mean, it wasn't even really anything that was a bad throw. It just seemed like Florida State was really just kind of all kiltered by Florida's rushing attack. I mean, every time they stacked the box, Florida play-action pass, and it was a wide-open touchdown or a wide-open completion. I mean, it just seemed like everything that Florida State did in terms of that just wasn't going their way. And the one time DJ actually did drop back and pass, it was where Florida State had 2 sacks. But, I mean, you couldn't even get him into obvious passing situations to get him to that point because he had 38 carries and 266 yards, a 7-yard average.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. There's no possible way you can tell me that a Division I football team can give up 200 plus yards of rushing to one individual. One person did this. Yes, he's an outstanding running back, but he's not the best running back in the country. He doesn't lead the SEC in rushing. He doesn't lead the nation in rushing. He's not on Mel Kiper Jr.'s big board saying that he's going in the first round, that somebody's going to pay him millions and millions of dollars to run the football. No, but you can't stop him, and that's what's so frustrating. There's no possible way that, for me, if I was a Florida State fan, I can look at my team after the season and say, yes, the coaching staff is headed in the right direction.
Yeah, it was just a weird thing because Florida State's defense, primarily coming into this game, they were like 27th in the country in rush defense. It wasn't something that Florida State really allowed a whole lot of this season. Yeah, I mean, Virginia had their running back kind of go off a little bit more. Virginia Tech had some good rushing totals, and Miami had a lot when they tried to go in the second half and try to ice the game. But overall, I mean, you saw Alabama, even though their rushing attack is not great, they still were able to stop them early in the season. You know, they were able to stop a couple other teams too, but it's just the problem is when you come back to it, you're just like, man, you know, you had one job. It's not like DJ Lagway is some kind of SEC top quarterback like we thought he was in the preseason. He is who he is as a quarterback. And, I mean, it just seemed like he didn't even really have to do any much. I mean, you saw even last season when Florida State lost that contest in Doak Campbell Stadium where they planted the flag and had that bitter rivalry there at the end. It just seemed, I mean, DJ Lagway had 134 yards passing. And, I mean, in this game, he really didn't do anything either. I mean, it wasn't like anything that he was supposed to be doing. He had 168 passing yards.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, at halftime you have to make a change. You have to make an adjustment. Have you heard any more rumors about Gus Malzahn, Tony White, because obviously you can't be excited. You can't be. Obviously, you've seen that there's been some uptick in some of the signings. Tomorrow being the early signing day, that's going to be a big day for a lot of people, and I'm sure you're going to share some of that with us. But have you heard any rumors about Gus Malzahn, Tony White?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is the biggest domino with all the coaching is Gus Malzahn, because you look at it before coming into the season, he was thinking about retirement. He'd just come off that UCF season where he was the head coach there, went 4-8. Didn't go exactly how he thought he would. You've seen the times at Auburn. You've seen the explosive offenses. You've seen what he wants to do, and he even talked about it coming in Tallahassee. He wants to have that offensive play calling duties. That was important to him because he's not having to direct the defense and special teams and the aspects of different sides of recruiting and different things like that. But it just seemed like he was lost at times this year. The play calls were kind of questionable at best. And I've heard a couple of things where they don't think he's going to come back. I've actually talked to 2 different people that are inside the program that think he's just not going to come back. They think he's either going to retire or he might even go back to Arkansas. And I just think with that mindset that you got going on now, with it being a 1-year rental, was it really worth it for Mike Norvell to take that kind of risk? Was it more so, could you go after a Cade Bell from Pittsburgh or something like that? I mean, it just seemed like there was a lot more options out there. If you didn't think that this was going to last more than a year, it just seems like kind of a wasted time. And with Tony White, I mean, after this defensive effort that you saw on the field, yes, UCLA's coaching job is now full, and now they've gotten a couple of assistants to come in there. But is that even really an answer at this point? I mean, his kids have gone to school at Tallahassee. He's got a church family in Tallahassee, but I mean, is it worth enough after you've seen the product on the field so far, especially with the last game giving you that bitter note of what you have to end the season? That just doesn't seem like a great fit for Tony White either. And you've seen Mike Norvell have some disagreements with him in the game time at post-game and having a conversation with him left and right and thinking, oh, man, he must not really like him. Just doesn't seem fit for either coach right now.
What I didn't like, and again, I told you I don't have a dog in this game, but it looked like Mike Norvell did not have any idea what was going on with the offense, and that's alarming to me. Your coach, your head coach, I get it. You give your coaches a leash to coach, but it was like the whole offensive group was surrounded Gus, and then just look off to the side, and Norvell's just standing over there looking at the crowd, looking at the scoreboard, kind of looking away. I know he's talking and listening and what they're saying. I've been a coach in high school, and when you have your headset, you listen, you're talking, you don't have to be side by side. I get all that. But the fact was, it just seems like this year, watching all of the Florida State games that I watched, that all of the time that they were on the sideline, Norvell just kind of stands off to the side, and you don't even really see them talk much. I saw him ask him one thing or another, but it was very rare that I saw him really involved, and that's a problem. If I'm a fan, that's a problem. I want my head coach to be involved. Now, I'm coming from the Saban tree on screaming at your, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, no matter what, but I still want to have my hands on the program. It seemed like he was like, okay, Gus is going to be the offense. He's in charge of that. So if it fails, that's Gus's fault, not my fault.
Yeah, it's just a weird, concerning thing because Mike Norvell come into the season, he gave his play calling duties up to Gus Malzahn, and he's kind of wanting to be that CEO type. You've seen it with Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney and other coaches like that. But just in terms of what it means to Mike Norvell in terms of being a CEO, he hasn't really done that. Even in his days at Memphis and early on at Florida State, he's always wanted to be that offensive guru to help Florida State out. He had Jordan Travis as the quarterback, so I understand some of it might have been Travis and his doing and how their offense has been so successful over the years. But, at the same time, though, this is a new role for Mike Norvell. I think he's just trying to learn for what he's wanting to be. The confused looks on TV and just in person has not been great, not been an ideal sight to see from your leader of your head coach and a guy that you trust to be able to be there for the 26th season. But just overall, this is just a mess. It looks like a mess. I'm not saying it's 2024. We won more than 2 games. But this is just definitely, the roster is there. I think there's pieces that you can build off of, and I think there was enough pieces to get you to that 7 or 8-win mark. But, man, what a absolute, utter disaster at the back half of the season.
And that's really where, when you beat Alabama, you come out of the gate really hot, and everybody was all on Florida State's bandwagon at that point. Oh, yeah, we're back. The Bobby Bowden years are coming back, and then it just goes into what it's turned into. And I remember now what I saw on Saturday. It was they had come out of a timeout, and it was almost like, and again, I'm a little bit weird. I'm one of those guys that'll pause the TV, rewind it, and watch their lips again. And so I try to read lips, and so
that's funny.
So that's something that I do because I want to know what they're saying.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong. But anyway, it looked like he just said, "What are we doing?" And Gus kind of told him, and he was like, he didn't even say okay. He just kind of like nodded and walked off. Like it was just like and again, I'm not saying that everybody's calling me to be their head football coach, but it just doesn't look good. Now, let me ask you this. I've just got this little bit of inkling inside of me that I got to get out. I haven't told many people, but is there a possibility that once LSU and Brian Kelly get their shenanigans figured out now that Lane Kiffin's coming, are we going to see Brian Kelly about halfway through the season now? Because that's what everybody's going to say. That's what everybody's going to start doing. All these coaches now, there's new rules, there's new ways. We saw it this year with all the coaches getting hired, fired, and moving and all that. Are we going to see if Mike Norvell doesn't do what he's supposed to do and win football games, are we going to see them finally pull the plug on Mike Norvell and bring good old Brian Kelly to Tallahassee and let him try his luck against the ACC?
Honestly, and I think there could be an opportunity for that, but at the same token, if you didn't want to hire a James Franklin, who you think is a consistent product that wins you 9, 10, 11 games even, why in the world would you bring in a Brian Kelly that, he's already not really worked out in the South in LSU? He doesn't really have a whole lot of Southern ties. He's a Northern guy. It's not really a fit for what Tallahassee brings. But in the same token, what does Florida State fit at this point? You had Jimbo Fisher. You had Bobby Bowden. You had even the Willie Taggart experience. You've had this experience. What does fit at Florida State right now? I mean, with the land of NIL, with everything else going on, you want a proven winner. Brian Kelly does have a 34-14 record. I'm still saying Mike Norvell's employed at Florida State, so this could be a moot point at the end of the year if Florida State decides to do something in 26. But, I mean, at any point, Florida State has to win ball games. They cannot get to a point where get you somebody in here that can win ball games, or Mike Norvell's got to get it fixed and win ball games himself. So, I mean, that's plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, you're not asking Brian Kelly to come with an accent, because there isn't an accent. All he's got to be able to do is have his hand out, and he's got to be able to rock it back and forth and just do the chant. He don't have to learn anything. All he's got to do is coach football and not learn it. Because at LSU, he tried to learn how to speak Cajun. He tried to learn how to do all those things. And Jeff loved him, by the way. But either way, when you look at what is going on for the Seminoles, I know tomorrow's a big day. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Who are some of the kids that you need to look out for that's coming to Florida State that's going to go ahead and sign tomorrow?
Yeah, so a big one that you're going to have to watch out for tomorrow is Isaiah Williams. He's a 4-star linebacker. We already talked about linebacker being a big position where they weren't able to stop the ball, and they were kind of out of position in certain things. This kid is very, very talented out of the state of Florida. Just a guy that's flipped a couple of times, actually flipped 6 times in his recruitment, and has actually stuck through with Florida State. And it just speaks volumes to what Florida State is and speaks to volumes to what kid he is. I mean, after you've decommitted and committed 6 times and programs are still wanting to get after you and get in there, he's a top 200 prospect. I mean, this kid is going to be the real deal. You got Chauncey Kennan, who's a 4-star cornerback, another guy, DBU at Florida State. We've got a lot of defensive backs throughout the years. He's another guy out of Sarasota that is a great kid that I think he loves Florida State. He's even got Florida State tattooed on his arm. I mean, kind of like a Derwin James thing back in the day whenever he was able to get a tattoo on his arm as well early on in his career before he started to go to Florida State. And then the last one, I think, is a 4-star receiver, Jason Lopez, who could be kind of up in the air, but he's also a basketball player. So I think that's why I also think that that's an equal importance, because he's a 4-star point guard as well as a wide receiver coming out of Chaminade Madonna. basically a 1,000-yard receiver every single year. Even in his 8th grade year when he played varsity, he was actually averaging and getting 800 yards receiving that year. I mean, this kid is electric in the slot. I think he can be a really good piece for Florida State in basketball and football, and I'm super excited for those 3 prospects that can end up in this class.
Well, that's pretty cool. We're going to take our next break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the coaching carousel that's going on and who's going to win the ACC. I mean, are they even going to get a team in the playoff? You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Reach out and smack someone. Call or text now. 850-215-6290. The Red 17 Studio Line. ESPN Northwest Florida. The Paul Feinbaum Show.
In the state of South Carolina, some little boys and some little girls grew up to be Gamecocks fans. And this time, come Saturday, we'll be on Stone All Day host out and they be crying, eating that leftover Gamecock turkey sandwich. 50% off all chickens. Let's go, Clemson Nation.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good evening. This is Joanna with your weather forecast from ESPN Northwest Florida on this Tuesday. Partly cloudy tonight with a wind coming out of the north around 10 miles per hour and a low of 43. Tomorrow morning, look for some sun with a temperature near 52. The afternoon and evening, a high around 59 and mostly clear skies. Thursday, warm with a high of 59 and very light rain. This weather forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tap into your entrepreneurial spirit with Coverall, a turnkey commercial cleaning franchise backed by 4 decades of success. Coverall provides commercial cleaning services for all types of facilities. Built on a proven, scalable business model, as a new franchise owner, you'll receive an initial customer base, affordable startup options, and financing is available. For the tools entrepreneurs need to succeed, call Robert, 850-476-1717, 476-1717.
For a limited time, Krispy Kreme Donuts presents the Charlie Brown and Peanuts Christmas Donut Collection. Including Snoopy cookies and cream donut, Charlie Brown ornament donut, Christmas wreath donut, and 2 returning treats. All available now through December 24th at Krispy Kreme Donuts in front of HCA Hospital, 23rd Street, Panama City, and the Ross Clark Circle in Dothan. Krispy Kreme Donuts, since 1937, where you get them hot.
Transmitting from the CBC Construction Studio.
And adore the damn Bulldogs, baby.
Now back to Herschel Walker, Texas Ranger.
Oh, you are now the original Gator hater.
It's the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson.
Herschel Walker and the Georgia Down Bulldogs.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We are live, local, and worldwide. So no matter where you're listening from, you can call in, you can text in on the Red 70s phone line, 850-215-6290. You can also comment on the Facebook page. You can comment on the YouTube page, and we will read those online. You know, when we talk about things with the playoff, and we've got Taylor Devers here with Chop Chat Norvell Central talking as well. This whole thing, Taylor, could really go sideways, especially if Duke were to upset, if you want to call it that, beat Virginia. And then we're looking at a possibility where no possible way is the ACC going to have a team in the college football playoff. Did you ever think you could live in a day where you'd never see an ACC school playing in the college football playoff?
Well, that's exactly what happened in 2023. So
True.
Might as well bring back the chaos. I think it's going to be a bittersweet moment for Seminole fans, even though it's not really been a great season for Florida State by any means. Not even saying moral victories are a standard for this program, but seeing Miami potentially being left out, and then also probably seeing Ole Miss possibly being left out too, after their kind of debacle with the coaching staff and maybe some players leaving and everything, could be a pretty interesting format and what Florida State fans could think about this playoff format going forward.
So outside of that, let me ask you, what is the other great thing about the year for you? Being a Florida State fan, obviously your season didn't go good, so you know how it goes. You got to find something that you revel in. What is it that you're so thankful for this season?
Honestly, I think with Indiana being as good as they are this season, I think it's kind of a revelation of what college football is nowadays. You're seeing some of those up-and-coming teams coming up, like even a Texas Tech that kind of paid for their roster. Different teams in that organization that can be able to kind of be in that forefront of the college football playoff. You're not seeing the Alabamas anymore kind of being in that top one or two. I mean, they could elevate themselves a little bit further, but just seeing those smaller schools getting a little bit more opportunity, the parity in college football, even though I know a lot of people don't like the NIL space and how it's kind of navigating everything throughout the sport, I do think it is kind of keeping it interesting.
Well, I was trying to see if I could bait you, and you did not fall for the bait. You stayed pretty classy, my friend. I was thinking you were going to say something about those Florida Gators and their coaching search.
We were going to get there. If you want me to get there, I'll go ahead and get there for you. I do think in terms of what Florida's done in their head coaching search was nothing but an embarrassment. Let's just face it. I mean, they wanted Lane Kiffin. They wanted him. But Lane Kiffin didn't want them. You go over, and instead of Billy Napier being this group of five option, and he had all the bells and whistles, I guess, early on in his career, scare money, don't make money, but ended up being a disaster. I mean, and then you look at it, and you're hiring another one, John Summerall, who, while he's got an endorsement for Lane Kiffin to come to an SEC program, is he really the answer? Are you really thinking it's going to be anything different? I mean, you're looking at your schedule that's going to be coming out a little bit later. Is it going to be any better? I mean, is he worth all of that money spent to fire your head coach, bring in a whole new staff with him, and do it all over again with a group of five option? I just don't know. I mean, Florida fans talk all the time about Florida State's got a group of five head coach in Mike Norvell. What's the difference now? What do you're going through two options now at this point? Like, what are you doing? So I don't know. I understand the hesitation for leaving Mike Norvell in. I understand his shortcomings. I get it. But at the same token, this Florida program is just a disaster. Scott Strickland should probably get fired. It's just he handled a mess. He is the mess. There's nothing great about the Swamp, and I get they want to celebrate in the victory. I get they beat us, whatever. But that is just an embarrassing thing to get your number one option to not even be in Gainesville right now, and he's over in Baton Rouge because you couldn't get him.
That's true. And I don't know if you got to see the first part of the show, but Jeffrey was wearing a crown, and he's got his LSU shirt on today. So he's really feeling it really good because they won the prize. And he's even got his popcorn because he said that Coach Kiffin told Alabama to get their popcorn ready. So he's getting his popcorn ready. So he's getting all excited. Let me ask you this. And, again, we're talking with Taylor Devers from Chop Chat Norvell Central. When you look at the way this whole playoff is going, because you've got all these teams that have the possibility of getting in, and we've been talking about it, and you got teams like James Madison that we're discussing, and we got teams like North Texas who just lost their head coach. They don't have anything to be in the playoff, in my opinion. But if you could look and see, why do we have to be tied to so many rules? Let's just be honest. The SEC and the Big Ten are the toughest conferences in college football. ACC, they played some good football this year, not so great at times. Then you've got the other conferences. That's what I like to call them all because they're about all the same to me. Because there's no possible way that you could tell me that James Madison, that North Texas, that Tulane, that these schools could beat a team that's going to be left out of the playoff, and that team is the Texas Longhorns. How is it that we're trying to get the college football playoff to be right, but there's a possibility that we're going to leave out Texas. There's a possibility we're going to leave out Vanderbilt. And there's a possibility that Alabama, if they don't beat Georgia, gets left out. And who you going to bring in? Virginia, James Madison, North Texas, Tulane. What are we doing? Does this make any sense to you, Taylor? Because it doesn't to me.
I'll tell you what, though. I know everyone wants to bring 14 teams into the mix, 16 teams into the mix. What? You might as well bring in 64 at this point. There's always going to be a discussion of who is number 13 and 14 and 15 and 16. You're always going to have this constant struggle. Even in the NCAA tournament, with basketball, yes, they have the first 4 out and first 4 in, and you go through those factors and everything. There's still people arguing about who should be in that tournament. And there's 64 teams. I mean, at some point, you have to understand, hey, they didn't win enough games. Hey, the regular season matters. Like, at some point, you look at the Miami and Notre Dame game. I mean, Miami won the football game, but they're still going to get punished. They're still got the same amount of losses. I mean, yes, Miami beat them at home, and I understand that. They have a little bit different advantage, and maybe Notre Dame is a different team now. But the fact of the matter still remains the same. I mean, you look at certain teams that go through this team, the SEC is a great conference. I think they're probably going to get 5 or 6 teams in. I mean, you even look at Ole Miss. I mean, what do you do with them? It just seems like there's a lot of things going on. Even if a Tulane wins, I mean, what do you happen to do with that?
And you got to look, Ole Miss throttled Tulane. Ole Miss destroyed Tulane. Then you look at the other part of the scenario that you were just talking about, and there's no possible way that we can keep Texas out. There's no possible way we can keep Ole Miss out. There's no possible way, really, we can keep Vandy out. And you can't keep Oklahoma out, and you can't keep Georgia out, and you can't keep Bama out, and you can't keep Texas A&M out. You can't keep Ohio State out. You can't keep Oregon out. You can't keep Indiana out. That's 10 teams that I just named right there. So there's 2 teams left. I mean, when you look at it the way it's set up, it's set up, we're trying to get the best teams. Let me ask y'all both this question. Jeff, I'm going to ask you first.
Yeah.
If you had a flip-flop scenario, if Notre Dame would have beaten Miami, but Miami would have done what Notre Dame has done, and Notre Dame would have done what Miami has done, do you think Notre Dame would have been higher than Miami if they would have just switched?
Oh,
yes.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because why? Because they'd have said head.
Yeah.
But now because it's Notre Dame, we got to give them, you know what? I'm okay with it. You give me all the SEC teams and all the Big Ten teams in there that's supposed to be in there, and you can throw Notre Dame in that group if they have a good record, and then add the 4 teams, add the 5 teams to make it 16, and then you can throw all your little JMUs, Tulanes, and all that, and get their eyes beat out, and then we'll see what happens.
So let me bring up this. Alabama beat Georgia, and then they had the same record, and Alabama's ranked 1 in front of them. Then Oklahoma beat Alabama and dropped them to 2 losses, just like Oklahoma had. And where were they ranked? Number 8 and number 10. Oklahoma's right ahead of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been in history in the 80s and the 90s. It's perpetualness. And right now, what is Miami? 13 or 12 or something like that, right? And Notre Dame's like 9 or 8. I mean, this is not even close. It's wrong.
And you should, if you're going to say that eye test gets thrown out the door when they play each other.
Yeah.
And yes, you can't say, okay, look at Florida State and what they've done, and look at Alabama and what they've done, and say that Florida State's better than Alabama. No, because they've lost their games. They've gotten worse throughout the year. But Miami and Notre Dame, there shouldn't be any deal. It's just preferential treatment for Notre Dame, who's not in a conference.
Well, not only that, they loaded their schedule to the top of the beginning of the season, and then they won 10 games in a row, and all they beat was USC. Pitt, I'm not really impressed with Pitt. I'm not. So
even though you picked them, but I just wanted to say that.
What, against Notre Dame?
No, you picked Pitt to beat
Miami. I did.
Yeah.
You're right. Sorry. But, I mean, I saw Pitt play pitifully against Florida State. That was probably the second worst performance I've seen that beat Florida State this year was Pitt. They just looked awful that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the problem I have with Florida State, and I don't want to just rain on Taylor, but the top of this whole season was the Bama win, and the worst of this season was the Gators loss. You lost to a team that was on a 4-game losing streak. That's what the Gators were. They were on a slide. They lost to Kentucky. I mean, this is awful. And then to top it, the Seminoles were 5-5. All they had to do was either beat NC State or Florida, just one of the two, and they couldn't even do that. And then they're 5-2 at home and 0-5 on the road. I mean, road woes. That's awful. I mean, the momentum's stopping here, and the whole offseason just needs to be a momentum shift. And I don't know what's going to happen. I think Gus Malzahn's gone. I don't think you bring in a Chip Kelly. I don't know who else you can bring in that's going to help this offense, but something's got to happen.
I will disagree with you on one of the statements. I think that the Stanford loss was, quite frankly, embarrassing.
Yeah.
That was just not ideal. That Stanford team is not good. I think their only wins this season were like Boston College, San Jose State, Florida State, and like Cal. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, the North Carolina team is pretty bad too. Don't get me wrong. The Tar Heels are with Bill Belichick. But there's just a couple of teams out there that are maybe a little worse than Florida State, but they're all bad. Just Florida State 3-0, and then basically you win 2 of your next 9 games. That's just gross.
And that's really where, when you look at what can they do to salvage the recruits that are coming, or are we going to see Norvell go back to the portal again and again and again? And I mean, I saw it. I saw it yesterday. I saw it today. Tommy Castellanos, he wants to come back. What do you think?
Let me address something real quick, too, because I know Tommy had made a weird statement after Florida. You know, Florida State just lost by 21 points. And he said, and I quote, "I think that was the best game I played all year." Just let that sink in. All year, and you lost by 20? That type of culture, on top of him saying in the pregame about the road woes and, you know, we just come into those games nervous. That's a bad look. That's your quarterback saying that? I love Tommy. Don't get me wrong. I think he has great energy. I like who he is as a person. I think he has a tremendous skill set when it's used correctly. Problem is, it's not getting the job done. 5 wins, 5-7. That's not a standard at Florida State. Should never be a standard at Florida State. I don't think he comes back. I think it's just more so blowing smoke at the situation. I just think that he's hoping that something happens. But even if Gus Malzahn isn't gone, I think he's gone, because I don't think he's going to get the red shirt. Plus, on top of it, it's just not a great fit. I mean, are you wanting to go 6-6 next year, 7-5? That's probably what you got out of Thomas Castellanos.
Do they have a quarterback that they're recruiting that's a high school kid coming in? I mean, do they have anybody listed? Because I just don't understand the concept. Like, it hasn't worked. I mean, yes, Will, what was his name, Klein Will Howard, right, from last year for Ohio State. He came in, they won the national title. Okay, that worked, right? Burrow came in, but he stayed for 2 years. That worked. Mm-hmm. You know, so it has worked in times.
Jaden Daniels.
But he didn't win a national title.
Yeah.
I'm just saying national championships, because that's inevitably what everybody wants.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, they've got to have those. So they do have somebody on in the high school ranks that they're bringing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jaden O'Neal is a big guy that they really like out of Oklahoma. He was committed to Oklahoma at one point. They really do like him. He's more of a pocket passer, but the problem is, I think Kevin Sperry, who's going to be a redshirt freshman, they just preserved his redshirt this year. He played in 4 games. They really like him also. He was also an Oklahoma commit. They picked him up this year. He has good pocket presence, has a great motor. I think he has a great dual threat skill set. but are you trusting a redshirt freshman to take you there, or you have to go back to the well of the transfer portal once again? I mean, it just doesn't seem like it should be a great fit. A lot of fans are talking about bringing Sperry and making sure you have Sperry as your option at quarterback and get weapons around him and get offensive linemen around him. Problem is, you got to get a whole new offensive line. You got to get new playmakers. You got to get running backs in there. You got to get other stuff on your defense to figure it out. You can't just keep worrying about portal quarterback every single year and just not being able to develop the guys you have on your roster.
That's exactly right. And with that being said, we're going to take our next break. And when we come back, I just got some information about some new coaching changes that we will share with you after the break. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Call or text in now on the Red 7T studio line. 850-215-6290. Your home for college football. ESPN Northwest Florida.
This Saturday, live from Atlanta, it's the SEC Championship with the Georgia Bulldogs.
75 yards.
And the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And Alabama survive.
Coverage starts at 2, kickoff at 2:30 on your spot for the SEC Championship on the Gulf Coast, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Golf is a game that should be fun, but to have the most fun, you need to play your best. That's where the experts at Golf Plus come in. Their friendly staff will guide you through the buying process, answer all your questions, and can help with any repairs you need along the way. Golf Plus is your custom fitting, club repair, and golf retail shop. Golf Plus staff is non-commissioned and will work with you to find the best product for your game, just like they've been doing since 1988. Golf Plus in Panama City Beach. Fitting, repair, retail. That's Golf Plus.
Oh, the colors of Christmas. Reds, greens, blues, and golds. Makes me think of the beautiful selection of color gemstone jewelry we have at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. And they're all on sale at 60% off. Rubies, emeralds, sapphires, blue topaz, tanzanites, and many more. On sale now through Christmas at 60% off at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Have the perfect colors of Christmas under your tree this year and shop where Santa shops at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
East 15th Street, Panama City.
If you build it, they will come. We're live from the CBC Construction Studios. The new Sports Blitz.
Oh, yes!
Rants, hot takes, and huge reactions are incoming on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson here at 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're live and local right here in the CBC Construction Studio in beautiful Panama City Beach, Florida. We've got Taylor Devers on the phone with Norvell Central Chop Chat. We got Jeffrey wearing his purple LSU shirt. You know, I'm almost to the point where I don't like purple as much as I dislike orange. You're starting to turn me away from it.
It's okay. I know you're just like, I don't know, something wrong with your eyes or something like that, because you said beautiful Panama City Beach. It was foggy and cloudy all day today. It was horrible.
You ask everybody from the north, you ask everybody above the Mason-Dixon line if it's beautiful, and they will tell you it is very beautiful compared to up there.
It was so foggy you couldn't even see the water in the Gulf.
It's still beautiful. No. It's still beautiful. This place is beautiful. We love this place.
I do. I do
too. Either way, but listen, let me say this. We've got new coaches, and I don't know if we've ever seen this amount of coaches being hired, fired, leaving, jumping, and it's crazy. And now you've got the former Troy, former West Virginia, former offensive coordinator from the University of Kentucky, former special assistant to Coach Steve Sarkisian, Neil Brown, has now accepted the job at North Texas to be their head football coach. Yay. I mean,
yeah. Well,
I mean,
but it's North Texas.
I understand, but you got that happening. And then you found out that we've got some people that have extended their coaches. Who we got extended?
Sataki, is that
Sataki, BYU.
He's Tongan. He's not Samoan, or is that part of Samoa? I'm not even sure.
Hey, I'm not.
Anyway,
you're asking
he's a
the wrong
big
person,
guy,
buddy.
He's a big guy, and Penn State was trying to sweep him off out of BYU. And not only did the Mormon Church step in,
Crumble Cookie,
and there was one other guy who was super rich, and he said, "I'm going to give him $1 million." And so they're like, "We're keeping this guy here. Penn State's not stealing him."
So basically, hold on, time out. So basically, the church and Crumble Cookie come together to make sure that BYU's head football coach stays at BYU to keep the Cougars going.
Yeah.
And instead of going to Penn State. Now, we haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
Penn State, they're in trouble.
Oh, well,
all of these coaches.
You were saying just yesterday to me, I don't know if it was on the air, I don't think it was, you were like, they're waiting for an NFL guy. They're waiting for an NFL guy. And this all of a sudden, this BYU thing just popped out of nowhere.
So do you
and then the Mormons freaked out. They're like, God will not let this happen.
So do you think that was what the backstory was going to be, is that they were trying to get him?
No.
And now they're short? Or do you still think there's an NFL guy coming?
Well, I think they have their eye on a couple of NFL guys, and we're just going to have to see how this whole season pans out because, I mean, anything can change, you know. And
signing day's tomorrow.
I know. That's awful, isn't it?
Penn State needs to get on the ball, the Dauball, and get Brian Dauball to come be their head football coach.
And just think about it. Okay, so the portal is January 2nd.
Yes.
So the NFL season ends that week.
Yeah.
I mean, this is go time, and they've got to get something.
And Texas Tech, they extended their coach.
Extended their coach, and then so did who's the third one I said? Oh, no, it wasn't West Virginia. Oh, Boston College, O'Brien.
Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
Wow.
He got extended. They were like, hope nobody steals our guy. You know, we just beat Syracuse, you know?
Yeah, Bill O'Brien, who, I've never liked Bill O'Brien. Didn't like him at Alabama. Just no for me. In my Randy Jackson old American Idol days, that's a no for me, dog. Sorry.
Dog.
Bill O'Brien, no thank you. Taylor,
so, wait, let me ask a question to Taylor, though.
Yeah.
So, last year, we understood. Clemson took a loss to Georgia at the beginning of the season and the Gamecocks at the end, so they were 7-1. Obviously, they had a better record than Miami, who was 6-2 and 10-2 overall. So they had to play for the conference championship. But this year, we had one 7-1 team. It was the Virginia Cavaliers, and then you had 5 6-2 teams. And the bottom feeder of it all, I'm going to call them, is Duke. And I just think that they need to change that tiebreaker rule because it's awful. It's a shame that you have a 7-5. I thought it was a shame that you had a 9-3 in the conference championship last year. Now you got a 7-5. They've got to change this tiebreaker rule because Duke is not the team that needs to be there this year.
Oh, it's definitely the team that needs to be there. You know why?
Because it's going to get Virginia in?
Well, I mean, no, Miami has not made the playoffs. They have not been successful in over 25 years. They still haven't made the ACC championship. And on top of it, their former head coach is at Duke, and if he wins, they're probably not going to get in the playoffs again.
Wow.
You cannot make this stuff up. I just think it's hilarious how they keep getting this karma left and right, regardless of how great the quarterback's been over the last 2 years and how great of a recruiter Mario Cristobal is. It just seems very hilarious that Diaz could be the one to be able to beat them and just get them out of the playoffs, and then the ACC's left with nobody.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Now, let me ask you this, Taylor. When you look at it, we had another coach get fired, UK's Mark Stoops, who has turned UK's program around. And I was living in UK or in Kentucky at the time whenever all of this happened and him coming in. And he did. He turned the program around. He did a good job. There's nothing bad to say about Mark Stoops. It's just part of the game. When you work in the SEC, when you are a head football coach and you're not one of the Blue Bloods, you've got to reinvent yourself every year. If you look at all of the talent that he's brought there, even last Monday night, whenever we were watching the Washington Commanders play, you saw a running back by the name of Chris Rodriguez run a touchdown for the Commanders. Guess where he played? University of Kentucky. You know, I watched him at Kentucky. Didn't think he was going to make it, but he did. And so that's the deal. Mark Stoops has been a great great hire for them. Obviously, having 2 back-to-back years where they didn't get it done, they just, it's kind of really, if you look, the last 2 years, Taylor, it looks like Mark Stoops has kind of been like Mike Norvell. He brought in the quarterback from Georgia thinking that, okay, he might be the one. Didn't work out. Brought in the other guy this year. Didn't work out. And so, he's become a fatality due to the NIL portal, or the way it's set up with college football now. And I think this is just going to be a part of the process from going forward. Now, I said all that to say, are you hoping, are you praying to the football gods that possibly Mark Stoops could come back and coach that defense for the Florida State Seminoles and bring back the hard-nosed defense that he left it in whenever he did leave to go to Kentucky?
If Tony White decides that he is just, it's out, relieved of his duties, we get that news update, that would be my first call. My good friend, Niall Lawrence Stample, he was actually a defensive tackle during Florida State's national championship run, said that was one of his favorite coaches ever. Had aggressiveness, was basically just being able to be physical. It was a simple defense, but it was very attacking. It made the defenders just play free. Those guys were absolutely getting turnovers left and right. I mean, he got to be able to there, not because of whenever he was coaching Florida State's defense, it was 2010 through 2012, but he set the foundation for what Florida State could be in that national championship run that they had in 2013 and then also in 2014. I would love Mark Stoops to come back. I think this would be a great get for Florida State. I know I'm a little hesitant on the Jimbo Fisher coming back to Florida State thing. I could see why, but this would be a perfect marriage. As long as he is not a head coach and as long as he's just coordinating the defense, I think he can really bring an aggressive mindset to Tallahassee, and especially what you need. He would never let Jaden Baugh get 266 rushing yards, and I definitely think that he would bring an edge and just a chip on his shoulder to get back into the swing of things of having to be a head coach again one day. And I think it would be definitely a great thing for Florida State to bring him back.
With all of that being said, we cannot let it go by the wayside. The University of Florida, the Florida Gators, have indeed hired UK's defensive coordinator, Brad White, who his last game for the University of Kentucky, he gave up over 200 yards to 2 different backs. So he's coming in to anchor that Florida defense. Brad White from the University of Kentucky coming into the Gators. A lot of people love that because they've talked about, he was this and he was this and he was that. I'm telling you right now, the defense, when it was good, it was because of Mark Stoops, and when it was bad, it was because of Brad White. But I did not want to not go through that today. Also, Will Stein, 36-year-old former quarterback for Louisville, now or was offensive coordinator for Oregon, has now been named the head football coach at the University of Kentucky. Jeffrey, do you like the hire for UK, going from a defensive mindset, now going to a younger guy, coming from Oregon, was at Louisville, only threw 2 touchdowns his whole career as in college, so he wasn't a game breaker.
Yeah, I didn't remember the name.
But what do you think?
I mean, if Oregon hired him, that's the only thing I could say good. That's the only thing I could say good about this guy. If Oregon hired him, I guess he should be decent. I'm not sold on it until I see him coach.
It's hard to come to the SEC and not be a head coach already. You're stepping into the hardest, toughest.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play the toughest teams. You're going to have to play against a blue blood at some point, whether it's Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, LSU, Ole Miss. I mean, and those teams will move, and there will be good years, bad years for all of those teams as long as they, but I don't love it. This guy's never been a head coach. And you're going to bring him in. I don't care how much you got for him or how much you paid him. You're going to bring in a guy that's never been a head coach. All he's ever done is coordinate. And he wasn't a coordinator, but at Oregon for 2 years. So it's not that he's been some big understudy this whole time. I mean, he was like he was like an assistant head coach at a high school like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was just a passing coordinator the next year in college. And then now he's with Oregon, and then he becomes their offensive coordinator.
So the Ole Miss coach right now, he's never been a head coach before?
No.
Okay. Brent Venables has never been a head coach before?
Different.
Okay. What about Kirby Smart?
Different.
Oh, see? Now you're slicing it up differently a little.
No. Time out.
Okay.
Kirby Smart wasn't 36 years old. Kirby Smart won a national championship with LSU, won a national championships with an S, plural, with Alabama. Lane Kiffin, same deal. Brent Venables won a national championships, was there, saw how to run it. He ran the defense. He was so totally different. You're trying to mess me up, and it's not even, you're talking apples to oranges, Jeffrey. But when
Oregon did go 13-1 last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
And you thought the Big Ten was great.
Well, it's not that I thought that the Big Ten was great. I didn't think you bandwagon me on just because I defended Penn State a little bit.
I mean,
as a program. Other than that, no. You know how I dislike a few teams up there, for sure.
Taylor, please.
I'm not a pansy. I'm not a homer. I'm not anything like that. Actually, I wish the best for ACC. I mean, if I had a second best conference that I wish would be good, it's the ACC, really.
They ate each other up just like we said they were going to. And it happened just like we said it.
I hate to see it.
Yeah.
And we were all talking about it, different teams. Really weren't talking about Pitt or Duke at any point.
No.
But we were talking about Louisville for a little while, and Georgia Tech, and Miami, and then, of course, Virginia.
We didn't really talk about Virginia until later, though, because Virginia wasn't even on the market to us.
Yeah, that NC State
Georgia Tech
NC State loss kind of took us off a little bit. And then they snuck one past, was it Miami or was it Florida State? It was Florida State, I guess it was. Yeah, they snuck one past them. Yeah, I remember that game. Oh my God! But I mean, yeah, they ate each other. 5, 6, and 2 teams. The SEC can do that and almost squeeze them all in. Yeah, seriously, that's what's basically happened this year.
Yeah, and that's the problem with the ACC is they didn't have enough teams that were high enough ranked that could be able to keep the momentum for the conference to go in. So Taylor, we got about 30 seconds. Do you think that UK hire is really a good hire or no?
No, Paul. Would you go from Alabama to Auburn?
No,
because that's basically what you're asking at that point. There's no way I would go to a rival to coach that team. I don't care how much money you give me. I don't ever want to wear the color orange, and that's exactly what that happened in that sense.
Yeah, he's a Louisville guy through and through. Played there, and then he goes and coaches at UK.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
great.
You can't do that. Taylor, we appreciate you being on today, and we hate the fact that the Seminoles look like they did. But either way, we'll be back tomorrow. We got big-time signings in Bay County. You don't want to miss it. You're listening to the Sports Blitz with Paul Wilson at 104.3 ESPN, Northwest Florida. See you tomorrow.
ESPN Northwest Florida, the Paul Feinbaum Show.
In the state of South Carolina, some little boys and some little girls grew up to be Gamecocks fans. And this time, come Saturday, we'll be on Stunk All Day Host out Navy crying, eating that leftover Gamecock turkey sandwich. 50% off all chickens. Let's go, Hustle Nation.
Paul Feinbaum, weeknights, 6 to 10 on ESPN Northwest Florida.